So I'm giving away a free gaming computer. I'm going to turn this gaming chair into a functional gaming computer, and I'm giving it away on Discord, and I finally cut into him. His name is Yusuke. You're going to see me kind of butcher Yusuke, but that's okay. We're going to fix him. Into it. This fucking video gave me so much trouble getting it off my iPhone into this. I have to record my iPhone. I'm getting a camera. This will be the only time, I promise. Anyway, so the first thing I needed to do was cut Yusuke and remove the clippable pillow. Yes, I will be including the pillow when I ship him to whomever wins him, to you, whomever wins him. But for now, I needed to remove it because it was in the way. And then as you can see here, I'm cutting along the seam as close as possible because what needs to happen here is I need access to the metal frame. Now you're probably just asking me, well, why didn't I just drill through the leather and the foam? Well, because I need to know, like, see what I'm doing. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to cut into Yusuke until I got a look inside of him. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to know exactly how I wanted to build this until I got inside of him, because you never know what you're going to find when you open something up. I personally love taking things apart, but that's just me. And also, as you might have saw, I took a piece of the leather and I held it up against my schematic that I'm keeping for myself. And the reason for that is because I think it would be cool to have a piece of that leather, because you don't need it anyway and it's not going to be included in the chair, and put it on my schematic so I get to keep that, because I don't get to keep Yusuke. He's for you guys. So we just need to remove the leather so I can basically get to the frame. The chair has a metal frame, which did complicate my life originally, but it's not that big of a deal now because the metal that I got to attach to him is aluminum, and it's super thin and it's super soft, so I should just be able to drill directly into the frame and to mount the metal. But I need to see what I'm doing first. So the whole point of this was remove the leather. It is genuine leather. Remove the frame, and as you can see there, I was just palpating or feeling for the metal, so I can see exactly where I need to attach him. I have not cut or mounted the metal yet. That is next week. So next week, if you want to see me cut the metal in the shape of the back of the chair, if you want to see me mount the metal, stay tuned for that. But for now, we're just removing the leather. I honestly thought that around the head frame was going to be problematic, and I also thought that the shape of the chair was going to be problematic, but as it turns out, it's not going to be that difficult at all. Actually easier than I was expecting. That's what I discovered by cutting into Yusuke, is that my job is actually easier than I thought. And those are my metal cutters, but I use them to cut through the zipper because you're not going to need it. You don't need that. It's just an extra detail that, like, no. Now, originally my plan was to shorten the metal at the bottom so it could be reached up into. That is not going to work. So I have to revise my plan a little tiny bit and make it so that I can mount the motherboard piece independently from the back of the chair. And the reason that's important is because installing a CPU vertically would not be fun. Certain things like RAM, fine, and M.2, fine, that would be really easy to install vertically, but the CPU would not be fun, so I want the motherboard to be removable. And this way, in the future, if someone needed to upgrade something on Yusuke, if you needed to upgrade something on Yusuke, makes it really easy. And again, I'm cutting along the frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the loose leather and we're going to tuck it under the metal frame, and I'm going to tape it down. And the reason I'm using tape is because it's flexible and I need it in such a tight, small area. So, hey, what's on your nose? Did you sniff Yusuke maybe a little too hard? And so here I'm taping the metal. And I didn't want to use tape, but I couldn't think of anything else to use to get that metal tucked under the frame to keep the frame exposed. But you're also not going to be able to see the tape because the metal I'm going to mount onto Yusuke is going to be covering it. So it's just to keep the leather in place. And that is pretty much it.
Venom Cam. It's to Venom.
So do y'all remember that part in the third Tremors movie where the FBI guys come to perfection and they're like, we're gonna hunt the graboid, and Bert is like, yeah, the fuck right. And they go out into the desert and the graboid is chasing them, not the other way around, and Bert's like, I don't like that, so they go out into the desert to find them, and the FBI guy comes walking and he looks fine in the front. And then he falls to the ground and you see how fucked up he is in the back. Well, that's Yusuke right now. He's a little fucked up in the back, and that's because I had to tear into him in order to turn him into a computer. So, this is where we're at. Next week, we're going to be attaching this metal to the back of him so I can mount the parts onto the metal. And then, after that, motherboard. You all have to pick the motherboard. If you all don't pick the motherboard, I'm just going to pick one and you may not like it. So, pick the motherboard in the comments below, and then all the other parts that you'll want, you guys, it's your computer, you decide. And someone's going to win a free gaming computer in the form of a gaming chair. His name is Yusuke.